The relationship between Nigeria and their neighbors, including Benin, Cameroon, Niger, and Chad, have always occupied a central place in the consideration of Nigeria's national security, which is no doubt affected by development and activities in the neighboring countries. In July, Nigeria signed the Africa Continental Free Trade Areas Agreement, which seeks to create a single market for goods and services by facilitating free movement of goods, services and investment within the African continent. How well is this working out as the Nigeria government closed its borders since last year from neighboring countries? Well, to help us look at this, we have in the studio Mr. Declan Ihikiaire, who's an African Affairs Analyst. Thank you for joining us. Also here is Ayodeji Onigbogi, who's a development expert. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure being here.
Okay, let me start with you. How do you think that Africa Free Trade Agreement is working out with that closure of the Nigerian border?
What the president did August 19 is a reflection of what we should have done as a country for a very long time. If you look at the agreement, what the agreement stipulates or states, it's that if there's going to be trade between these countries, it must be for finished products or goods that are containerized. And when they are coming into the country, it must be assessed before they come into the country. And you discover that most of those goods that were banned or goods that, after the border closure, that is like strictly that you cannot bring them to the country, they are contrabands. They are goods that we tag them as smuggled goods. And because they are smuggled, the duties have been paid at the neighboring towns. And that's why they are trying to smuggle into the country so that they can come, the middlemen can make more money. That's why it's been smuggled. In the last couple of months, what the Controller General said was that Nigeria, what they make from the ports has doubled just from August till now. So that shows that the effect of the border closure is working. Most people that normally take their goods to the neighboring countries, they prefer to go and clear them in Lagos, at Tinkan. And that's making, that means Nigeria is generating more funds. More money is coming to our internet generated revenue. So it pays the country. And if we look at it, Nigeria is not going against the trade agreement, because if what they are bringing in from Benin Republic is raw material, that's okay. Not finished goods. Because if it is raw material, it's going to pay the two countries. You have produced, and if you have excess, and you want to sell, then we buy. But if it's something that is smuggled to your country, and you're looking for a channel, because after it was smuggled to your country, they've paid a token at the ports. And that means it pays you. Bringing it to here is not going to pay our people, because most Nigerians that are doing such trade, they will have been marginalized. When you are bringing those things at 10 naira to Nigeria, and people that are ready to do in Nigeria cannot sell it less than 15 naira, then it cannot even sell. Then if you look at from what, after the closure of the border, Nigeria has benefited a lot. We've benefited in two ways, especially our petroleum products that normally go outside the border to the neighboring countries. It has reduced to the extent that what the Ministry of Petroleum claimed was that they've reduced about 13 billion naira on subsidy. So if you look at that, that shows that it's bringing more revenue. The border closure is bringing more revenue to the country. Because, number one, what we normally pay subsidy for, whereby some people still take outside and make more money from, they have to be able to nip that in the bud. Okay. Then if you look at the issue of other consumables, like rice, like edibles, like tires, those that normally people bring the other way, just chicken and turkey, which we witnessed this Christmas period. A lot of people that are Nigerian farmers really enjoy this period.
But you also know that a lot of people who used to enjoy chicken and turkey this period didn't also enjoy it.
Yeah. You look at it now. It's going to be for a very short period of time. People that had birds, that normally they are birds, people don't patronize it because we always have frozen chicken at reduced cost. People are forced to buy live birds, turkey. So it pays them to have local farmers. Let's encourage local farmers. Let's encourage ourselves. As we're encouraging local farmers, we're encouraging everybody at the chain. The millers, the breeders, the growers, and everybody along the chain. So as time goes on, we're going to feel this it might not be a short while as a country,
Yeah.
but in the long while we'll feel it.
Okay.
And then people will be getting things better and better. If you've done farming this year and probably you had some challenges, next year you get it better because you'll be able to have more capacity because you're expecting more turnover. Then you'll be able to plow more because what you're expecting is better than what you are doing this year.
Okay. Mr. Declan, so from what he's saying now, we have more revenue but less friends. That's what it looks like. Yes, the Nigerian government is getting more revenue because the borders are shut down. But even the farmers are making more money. But our friends on the other part, how are they reacting to all of this? I mean, looking at it from the African perspective.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's quite unfortunate that most of the things we do in this country has always been the fire brigade approach. It has always been the policies that cannot be sustained. Now, automatically, other African countries will not be happy with us. Bearing in mind, we've just signed the African free trade agreement. And we just signed that in August. And by July this year, it should be coming to effect. And also bearing in mind that though the Nigerian government is claiming that we're making so much money now, but I tell you, with the agreement that have been signed and with the understanding we're having from the government of Nigeria, that the closure will not be indefinite. Automatically one day it will be opened. All right? And if it's reopened, how have we sustained what we have claimed to have gained now? We should be looking at sustainability of policies, not just delving into something and not finishing it. It is not in the starting but in the finishing. Can we sustain the border closure for eternity? If we can, it will better our economy. But if we cannot, what will happen is that we might end up going back to status quo, where smuggling will also continue as soon as the borders are reopened.
The other side of it is, now the borders are closed, yes, more revenue is coming. When you say sustainability, are you thinking about the fact that some of the things that were being brought in are not still being produced? Is that what you're thinking about?
Yes, that is one. Then two, sustainability in the sense that because we close the border, custom is claiming that more money has come in. Okay? The MPA has claimed that more money is coming in. Can we sustain it? Won't it get to a time where those borders will be opened? All right? And if it's opened, how are we going to sustain the huge amount of money that has come in now? Will it still coming in? All right? Then, like I said, if only the law allows us to close it perpetually, all right? But if it does not allow us to close it perpetually, then we should look at policies that will strengthen our own policy within, that will make whatever is coming in there unattractive to Nigerians. As long as things coming in there are still attractive to Nigerians and we don't have alternative of those things coming in from there will still be issues. People will still be compelled to go out there and smuggle in things. We're talking of tires. How many companies in Nigeria still produce tires? Even talking about rice are still coming in from neighboring countries. They're still coming in. Nigerians are complaining that the rice we produce in this country has so many sand in it.
Or it's too expensive.
And it's still expensive. Okay? How do we sustain this policy? That is where I'm coming from. If we can sustain it by making sure that these things we have been able to achieve now is sustainable, we improve on our rice, bring down the price, bring in other items. For instance, Apple. We go to Cotonou there, we buy apple. Can we sustain the production of apple like in Jos and make it cheaper compared to what we have in Cotonou? Pineapples come from Cotonou there. Can we have our own pineapple that will be cheaper and better than what is there? So even when the border is thrown open eventually in the future, it will be unattractive for those things to actually come in. That is what I'm looking at. But as far and as long as it is now, Nigerian masses are suffering. They are suffering because there's no alternative to most of those things. Now, it has even hardened the smugglers the more. And I want to tell you here, it's even enriching some custom officers and some of those agencies, security agencies at the borders. It's making them richer. Because now, if you were used to bringing a bag of rice with maybe 10,000 naira, 2,000 naira as a bribe at the border post, now you can pay as much as 5,000 to bring it into to just security agencies who are getting richer at the expense of Nigerian masses. On daily basis, I tell you, things are coming into this country. Okay. The sustainability is what I'm looking at. Thank you.
Mr. Nibogi, let's go back a little bit and look at the president's speech. He said the joint border closure currently taking place is meant to safeguard Nigeria's economy and security. Now, you've talked about the revenue that has come in. I mean, the different agencies have talked about how much money has come in since then. But he also mentioned the fact that Nigerians complain that the one item that seemed to be the major product that's being controlled, rice, the local ones are either expensive or sand infected. So how is it working out? From the economic point of view, if you look at it, yes, money is coming into the government. What about the citizenry?
Let's start from this. If there is no genesis, there cannot be revelation. When you don't start, you don't finish. What the government did was, they made a very bold step. And I'll tell you why I say it's a bold step. What he did, most Nigerians or people in the past were not able to do it because of people is like, oh, everybody has interest. But what he has done, is going to encourage local production of everything. It's going to encourage local farmers and local producers. If you look at the value chain of rice mill, production of rice, you plant, there's in for planting, the milling, then you process. Now, our engineers will be able to do basic repairs of rice mill. Because if it's happened that in Nigeria you have several rice mills, in Niger State, in Adamawa, as I speak, there's a company called Olam. Olam has massive investment in rice field in Adamawa. And not just Olam, several other people. If people know that there's opportunity for them to have investment in rice in Nigeria, they will prefer it than bring it from abroad. Because from the information we all have, most of those rice that we eat, that they tell us from Thailand, India, they are over 1 year old. But the rice that you are going to be eating that in Nigeria is probably less than 2, 3, 4 months, because they were produced here. So before they move it from the mill to the market, before we eat, everything is under 6 months, under 3 months, which is more safer. Most of those rice that we eat, we've been told that they've been fumigated, they've been preserved. So it's for health benefits, it's even pay us. Then it's going to encourage farmers, people that are done farming, probably they regretted due to one thing or the other. Now, they will want to participate because no matter what you produce, there is somebody that wants to buy. The cost might be a little bit higher. And then, before you get something right, there must be a price. Probably the price we'll pay now is probably the chicken that we are used to, the frozen one, the same size that we buy for 1,500. Probably now you buy the live one for 2,500. But as time goes on, once the whole cycle of the value chain, as everybody is involved, then things will start to come down. The meal will come down, the feed will come down, even people working there. Because if you have been supervising 100 birds, if you're an attendant, you supervise just 100 birds, and you take 10,000 naira. If the guy multiplied the 100 birds to 1,000 birds, he won't give 50,000 naira. So, in the long run, it pays the guy to double, to move his production from 100 birds to 1,000 baht and increase your salary from 10,000 to 15,000. So in the long run, it pays us as a people. Let's just start. You see, and then you said something that, for me, for all our neighboring countries, I think this is a time that, if I were they too should look inward. What can the things that they can do, that they can start to produce, that Nigerians will be interested in? Because that free trade agreement, it was stated clearly. Things you will bring from the other side must be containerized, not that you are importing it through one bush part. It must be taken through a proper and assessed by people like customs. So most of those things that come from the other side, they're not containerized, and they will not be they will not be subjected to any tests by anybody. And so they are smuggled.
But the other side about safeguarding the economy, has this in any way helped the economy? Because there are goods that come from the other side. The businesses here, many of them say their goods are not even coming in. Some had already bought goods that are wasting on the other side of the border.
The only thing
their own economy.
Yeah. If you look at, the only thing I can say is the government did the proclamation in a rush. They should have, say, in the next 3 months. So if you have to import, or you have any import that is on the IC, you will have ensured that everything is here. Or if you have anything on the IC, you could have done your way bill to read from either Benin terminal to read Apapa. You can change everything at any time, so that at any point in time you can get your goods. But what the government did, I'm not a member of government, and if you know, in all situations, when there is any policy, it pays some people and it will not pay some people. There is no, anything you do is going to pay some people, and then it will have negative impact on some people. But as a people, does it pay Nigerians? And when I say Nigerians, the only thing is, I'm going to advise government, if you have made an extra 10 naira, let them plow it to the economy. Because the economy can only revolve, can only move forward if what we make, we plow back into the economy.
Okay. All right.
Sustain development.
We'll be back in a moment, but just before we go on a quick break, Ikechukwu Kalu says the term goods is really vague. We were told that the clampdown was on rice. What are the other imports or exports that are being controlled by this border closure? And then he says custom officials are actually selling seized rice in Lagos. Proofs exist. That's coming from Ikechukwu. He says the custom CG may not be aware, but it is going on. We'll take a moment and come back to continue the conversation. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. This ex-footer says, who else noticed most of the chicken and turkey used during the Yuletide were from poultry farmers in Nigeria? Friends, neighbors, family members, etc. said most people now cook local rice. And now ask the question, please, who has the key to the border? I want to throw it into the ocean. Mr. Ekere, do you agree with this, that the key to the border should be thrown so that the local industries can thrive? I know you talked about the fact that government rushed into shutting the borders and people have their goods that they've already imported legally, some of them legally, on the other side. So,
yeah, like I said earlier, I said the sustainability of that policy
is your problem.
Is my problem. Can we sustain the closure? If we can sustain the closure perpetually, I agree.
Perpetual closure?
Yeah,
So what happened to the free trade agreement that we signed?
That is where I'm coming. That is where the contradiction comes in. That's why I said the little benefit we are getting now is for a short while. In as much as we have signed the free trade agreement, there is no way we can shut our border. And if we cannot shut our border perpetually, it means the gain we are getting now will surely reduce, because the border will definitely be opened again. All right? Can we now say, Nigerians should say, okay, the free trade agreement we signed, we're not a part of it? If we can do that, fine. And we'll close the border perpetually and we sustain what we have here and begin to work on it. We begin to bring back the industries that have left the shore of this country and begin to make sure that the money we have equipped now from the closure, we reinvest into the economy to make sure that most of these things that comes in from there, because unattractive to Nigerians. My problem is policies are made. It was made in a rush because most of those things that are coming from there are not here. Okay? They are not here, they're not produced here. and Nigerians want these things. Toothpick are brought from outside the country, even from Cotonou, even from all those countries. They bring them into the country here. Do we have companies that produce toothpick in this country now? Now, we're talking about rice. Rice is not the only thing. There are so many other things involved. I've just mentioned tires. How many tire companies do we have in this country now? How do we sustain this policy? I am fully in support of Nigeria becoming independent of, other countries. That is, having pure control over what we produce and over what we consume in this country. But in as much as we have entered into an agreement, okay, and that agreement does not allow us to perpetually shut our border, then there will be problem in future. It will become a big problem because most of those things we feel we are producing now, the rice and other things, as soon as the border is open now, most of this rice will come in and there will be competition. So for this little period now, can we begin to make sure that our rice become attractive to the Nigerian people? Can the Nigerian government begin to reel out better information, telling Nigerians that, look, please bear with us. It's just a matter of time, okay? Things will be better off. Bring down the prices of our rice, make it better.
Indeed. So the question, let me take this to Mr. Onibogi. How is it that our rice is so expensive? I mean, the local rice, the good ones especially, they seem to be quite expensive.
It will be because in anything, there's something called cost of production. And the most important part of cost of production is power. In Nigeria, or if you look at the African context, it's only in Nigeria that the cost of telephoning is more expensive. And the only reason is because there is no power from the grid. For most of these telecoms companies, they generate their power from generators. So definitely the cost of power, if you want to compare it to what they charge in other climes, it will not be the same. Just like for the production, for most production, for you to really operate a rice mill, you will need a particular level of or a particular level of electricity to power the mill. So for you to get that, if there is no electricity as a normal grid, you have to depend on generators, and it's going to cost a while. And then if you factor all those factors of production, if you put them in place, that's what will make the cost of the rice to go up.
So for this period, in short, okay,
yes.
And we have got more money. Has the electricity, has the power been increased?
And that's why we are encouraging government.
The answer is no.
Government,
and if it has not been improved, sorry, if it has not been improved, and the border remains open very soon, won't that affect what we're producing here? It will definitely affect it. There will be competition.
Okay, in 10 seconds each, what can we do?
What we need to do is that with the little money we have gathered now, Nigerian government should put it back into the economy to encouraging local production of what we have and make sure that it's competitive better than what will be coming in even when the border is open.
Mr. Onibogi?
Yeah, what I will encourage government to do is, for now, they should give all entities that are into agricultural related things tax incentive.
Okay.
By the time you give them tax incentive, they can plow it back into their business.
Right.
Because by tax incentive, if they are supposed to pay tax of 10 naira, you waive it. It pays them, so they can do more for agriculture.
All right, thank you very much. We've been speaking with Declan Ihekaiwe, African Affairs Analyst, and Ayodeji Onibogi, Development Expert. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
So as we're back in a moment, please stay with us.